Hello dear students, welcome back to NEWSPAP. Welcome to my classes by Mohamed Azhar. I hope you are doing good and you are happy and you are having a great time. And please do spread happiness in the comment box by typing happy. And before going to today's discussion, so I request you, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel and share the content to the aspirants community. And please help us to grow, please help this community to grow. So going to the first article of today's discussion, so the article is something related to that we often hear in the newspaper, that is Bulldozer Raj. This term might be very familiar with you. There were a lot of criticisms coming from various corners of the country regarding this Bulldozer Raj. So what exactly was happening? It was happening that if there is some crime someone has done, or some, in case of some legal issues, no proper document, this with the bulldozers, actually the demolition was happening. And now the Supreme Court has intervened into it. They have observed into it, and there are some observations that have given by the Supreme Court. So they have raised the concern regarding the practice of demolishing homes and private properties of the people who are accused of the crimes. Okay, so the main argument that the Supreme Court put forwarded was that these laws, it cannot be justified as per any law or any kind of rules. So the court also proposed that for all these activities there should be some uniform guidelines to handle this unauthorized constructions. So it was mostly it was happening in the northern state, especially in the Uttar Pradesh, and this case was between the Uttar Pradesh government only and the Solicitor General who represented the Uttar Pradesh government in the Supreme Court. He tried to defend it, telling that it is backed by the municipal laws, but still court emphasized that there has to be a guideline, a uniform guidelines to proceed this kind of demolitions. Okay, so the guidelines included that the Supreme Court was telling that uniform guidelines should be there, and there should be a proper mechanism to identify these illegal buildings, and there should be a proper notification given to these individuals, and after that only, after getting their response, so it should be a timely process. It should not be a quick action that should be taken upon these people who are believed that, or who are alleged that they are illegally residing in these areas, or they have constructed their building illegally. So the problem, the broader understanding you should have is that, okay, this Bulldozer Raj, and what was Supreme Court observation regarding that. So Supreme Court observation was that, see, that has to be done, and there need to be the establishment of the uniform guidelines for all this in order to dealing with this unauthorized building structures. Okay, and so this was the news about, and more you can read this from from this material. Okay, so no demolition should happen without a proper system, without a proper guideline. For that, the Supreme Court suggested that they must be informed first. They should be given a notice. Then the people should be heard. There should be proper chances, platforms to hear the persons who is believed to done this kind of illegal activities. Okay, so this is the article about, which is a very good intervention by the Supreme Court. Okay, now coming to the next article, the article talks about why women don't come forward to report sexual misconduct. So this article you can link to the general studies paper 2, where you have this welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of the population by the center and the state. So there you can link it, and this article mainly discusses one major concern, that even though we are having platforms, or we have implemented Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act 2013, but still there are a lot of gaps in this particular act. The major observation that many women, even though this is existing, they are very hesitate to report the sexual misconduct faced by them, okay, to the internal complaints committee formed by this Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act or POSH Act. Okay, so they are not coming for multiple reasons. First thing is the fear of retaliation, the delayed action, and also the lack of faith in the system. Why this lack of faith in the system can be termed? The reason is that the previous cases, whenever if someone have gone through or gone to this particular internal complaints committees, they had faced retaliation. They faced lack of support. So for all these reasons, they have lost the faith in the system. So if they are losing the faith in the system, the functioning or the objective of forming this Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act will not be successful. So the other reasons which varies from like there are a lot of sexual harassment happening. Even in the Malayalam film industry, we are hearing regarding the Hema Committee report and the associated events. So it is not just confined to films, whether it is in academia, media, corporate workplace, everywhere it is happening. So now let's quickly go through the provisions of this POSH Act and also the Internal Complaints Committee. Okay, this is very important. You can write it, and even you can get a question also, because this Malayalam film industry Hema Committee report is in news. So in that way, you can expect a question in either your mains examination or in your upcoming prelims examination. So this POSH Act of 2013 mandates for an internal complaints committee, and the condition is that if it is having 10 or more women employees, then they should have an internal complaints committee which would be handling with the sexual harassment cases. And the objective of this ICC internal complaints committee is to provide a safe and confidential platform for the women to report the sexual misconducts faced by them. And the composition of the ICC, there should be a senior women employee who will be the presiding officer. From the employee side, there will be 2 members and 1 external member from an NGO or an individual familiar with women's issues, social work or the legal system. So this people should compromise of this internal complaints committee, and this internal complaints committee is backed to the POSH Act of 2013. And the major concern this article is discussing, even though this is there, this provision is there, this POSH Act is there, but still women are feared to come and talk about the sexual harassment they are facing. Okay, so the one thing is the fear of complication. Okay, the second one is the intensive handling of the cases, the line of questioning that is put forwarded by the ICC, that is very irritating, that is very intensive, and it is discouraging them to come forward. And also the lack of support is also one major reason for that. Okay, and talking about how it can be made more impactful, that government mandated reporting platform should be there. Okay, external platform should be there apart from the ICC, and if the ICC is failing, there should be an external platform, and standardized reporting and compliance check should be there, and hand supporting for the victim should be there. It should be victim friendly. The way you questioning them, where you are asking the incident, that should be very victim friendly. It should not make them very irritated or make them very uncomfortable. Okay, so this is the article about one of the most important act. This is the POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, and we discussed about the internal complaints committee, which all company they should have this ICC. The condition also we mentioned, and the most important agenda of this article was that even though this POSH Act is in place, ICC is in place, but still why women are not coming front and addressing their sexual harassment cases or sexual discomfort cases. Okay, now let's go to the next article, dealing at China Africa forum that India must track. So this article actually to be very simple, it is telling how China is getting to the countries, how China is involving into the into various countries, giving them assistance, financial aid, infrastructure facility. So all this diplomacy, all this idea of the China, that India should have some lessons from this. So this is the article talking about, and you can link to the general studies paper mains 2, that is international relations part. And talking about exactly what the article is talking, there is a forum which is China Africa Corporation, and this corporation, from the name itself, it is very clear, it is showing the influence of China on the African nations. So the challenges that the African countries faces, and there are a lot of challenges, whether it is economic, political instability, and all these countries, one or other, they will face, and the China is helping them. The China is there to help them. So in the future, there are a lot of risk associated with it. So it is telling that this should be a vigilant matter for India. We should have some observation towards this. So this China Africa Corporation, it is going to be held in Beijing. So African countries, they are having a lot of instabilities with regard to inflation, debt, military takeovers, and geopolitical conflicts also. So engagement between China and Africa, if you are talking how much they are deepened, their relationship has deepened. Their relationship has deepened in such a way that their import, the China's import to this African countries were worth $300 billion, and trade between China and Africa, that also increased to $167 billion in the early 2024, which was majorly dominated by the raw materials. And also African countries seeks to move up the value chain by developing sustainable industries and better infrastructure. So China is expanding their area or their area of interest, or or whatever the infrastructure help, the funding they are doing, the trade, the investment, everything they are enhancing with this African region. Okay, so the problem, the major concern here is the lack of transparency in the Chinese loans. Okay, many times China will forget the small loan amounts, but they will never compromise on the big loan amounts. So what happen if these countries are failing to pay this amount? These countries slowly the new model of colonization by China, many people are criticizing in such a way only. But for India, this is a concern. This is concern, and we should pay attention to it. We should pay some kind of vigilance to it. So the most important part of this article is what lesson India should take from this. So now India should consistently engage with the Africa. We should consistently engage with the Africa. We can support the African economies by helping integrate them into global value chains. We can give Indian private sector involvement in the African region. We could give innovative financing. We could give public-private partnership to them wherever that is required in the infra projects or something. And in this way, we should strengthen the ties between Africa and India, because this is very important for the reason, rightly, China, they are moving more forward. They are deepening their bond with these African countries, which is a very good concern. It is a very concern for India. And also we can give them the technological assistance also, like the unified payment interface for the financial connectivity with Africa, and also rupee based credit lines instead of dollar based ones can reduce the exchange rate losses for African countries too. So all these lessons we should have, how China is involving, how China is getting more rooted in the African region. Their strategy should be examined, and India should have some strategy upon investment, upon trade, upon assisting them, upon the humanitarian activities. So this is the article about. Now coming to the next article is enhancing oversight, which talks about the GST Council. So from this article, the most important thing from the prelims perspective is the GST Council only. We should understand what is GST Council, what is the mandate. Okay, so GST Council, the news was regarding that the next GST Council, they will be looking after India's indirect tax system. They will be discussing some important changes, and they are also thinking to bring electricity and petroleum under GST. So this is a major change they are thinking upon. So the discussion was mainly into this GST Council. So we have to see what is this GST Council about, and objectives of the GST Council, the history of the GST Council. So now what is this GST Council? That is a special group. The special group was formed to manage and regulate the GST in India. Okay, so this was brought by the 122nd amendment bill, and which was approved by more than 15 states also. Now talking about the objectives of this particular council, so one thing, GST should be very smoothly implemented, that the tax laws are similar in all states, and also keep an eye on the tax process to prevent any fraud or cheating. Now talking about the constitutional article, it is 279A1. As per the 279A1, it says that the GST Council must be formed by the President. They can change this noun and give you PM, so you should be very clear, it is President within 60 days of the introduction of the Article 279A. So as per this Article 279A1, the GST Council was formed. Talking about the composition, Union Finance Minister will be the head of the GST Council, and there will be members from each state. So that member will be either minister in charge of the revenue or the finance, and then the finance or taxation minister from each state, or any other minister nominated by the state government, and the vice chairperson that will be chosen from the members among themselves. So the functions will vary as per the Article 279A4. The functions will be recommendation on taxes, then which goods should be taxed, which should be removed, and model GST laws, and threshold limit, and that is minimum turnover amount below which business don't have to pay GST. Okay, up to which level you don't want to pay GST. So this limit will be decided by GST Council, the GST rate, and also some special provisions, special recommendation for certain states like Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Jammu, Kashmir. So all these 6 are the major functions of the GST Council as told by the Article 279A4. Okay. So GST Council is the most important thing you should learn from this, because GST Council is very important. Okay. So all this article, which is 279A5, 279A8, 279A11, then 279A7, 279A9, then 279A6, to all this article, this is 279, you should understand it's regarding GST Council. So remaining, it's not that much important, but I am giving you in this document so that you can read it, and if you can study, because it will be very difficult to by heart all this article, but 279 you remember, and this 279 to remember, and whenever if you can by heart all this, so it will be very important. So 279, it's related to GST Council. So from this article we try to learn about the GST Council, the constitutional mandate, how it functions, who are the members. Okay, so now let's quickly go to the next article. The Disaster Management Amendment Bill is naughty. Okay, so this bill was introduced in August 2024, which is aiming to revise the existing Disaster Management Act of 2005. So the agenda, the idea behind bringing up this new bill is to include or to be a response to the climate induced disasters. Okay, but even though this proposed changes, there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of shortcomings. Okay, it is again centralizing the disaster management. So how the problem of centralizing the disaster management, the problem is that the disaster management, if there is no authority, enough authority is given to the state, whenever some disaster happen, it will be very difficult to coordinate. It will be very difficult for the administrative structure. Okay, and also the heat wave impacted the entire economy, the entire section of the society, women, children, everyone was impacted with this heat wave, but this heat wave is still not included in the new act. So this is also some major criticism that is being discussed. So the major concerns about this bill: increased centralization, delayed response, because centralization will result in the delayed disaster response, fund management issues, and also there are some examples have been put forward, like Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, this relief fund from the NDRF, it was very delayed. So why this delay is happening? Because of the centralization. So the centralization in this new bill also, it is looking like somewhat it has got extended, its scope has got extended. So that is a major concern. And the next one, the definition of the disaster. So the definition of the disasters, as per this disaster, there are some notified disasters. This is very important, because in the prelims you can get a question, they will give you these disasters and they will ask you which among are the notified disasters. So cyclone, drought, earthquake, fire, flood, tsunami, hailstorm, landslide, avalanche, cloudburst, pest attack, frost and cold wave. You should very remember, heat wave is not still included in this. And here there is a very good data you have given. It is given as per the disasters. So the heat wave, as per the heat wave, it has impacted almost everywhere. And in India, the heat waves impacted around 536 days worth, which is longer last 14 years, and it led to 10,635 deaths due to this sunstroke. So this is a data which shows the severity of the impact that was caused by the heat wave in the country. So this global perspective on disasters, this data you can use it in your answers. So the idea of this article which is discussing is regarding the new Disaster Management Act, and there is a problem of centralization. If the problem of centralization is happening, how it will impact the immediate response after a climate, and also the heat wave, it is not included, it is not defined in the disaster, so that is also a concern. So what we can do for better disaster strategy, the way forward will be the most important thing, call for cooperative federalism. Effective disaster management will only happen if state and center collaborate each other, and they should not go for these blame games. Okay, so they should learn from the past failures. The financial preparedness should be there. Okay, and power dynamics. Right now, due to the centralization, the fund must come from the center for the state in order to go with the activities to overcome or to combat with this. So this is again that delay is happening in the disaster management system. Okay, so this article was regarding the new Disaster Management Act and the loopholes or the criticism that the new Disaster Management Act is facing, especially the centralization and also the not inclusion of the heat wave in the disasters list also. Okay, so I hope you are happy and you are enjoying these sessions. Now please do spread happiness in the comment box, and please do spread whatever you are feeling right now. You are happy, so ensuring that you are happy, yeah, it's the right article I could start with after ensuring that you are happy, which is talking about the mental health care in the country. You know, one thing I would like to inform you, for the first time in the history, that the economic survey has come up with mentioning mental health. For the first time, that economic survey came up with mentioning the mental health, and they said that they observed that the mental health, the worsening mental health of the human resource in the country is contributing to the low productivity, and also it will have a huge impact, a long-lasting impact on the growth and the development of the country. It is the first time that the economic survey has understood the importance of mental health. So this year is very important, and you can expect a question regarding mental health in the upcoming mains also. So this is an article which talks about some data, some statistics, which the whole idea about this article is that even though we are prioritizing, we started giving more emphasis on the mental health care, but the infrastructure to meet these demands are not up to. Okay. So what this article is talking about, a very good data you are having always, because we are having a shortage of mental health professionals. Our attitude is changing. Few years back, we were very hesitant to go to this health professional, to psychiatrist, but that has been changed. Our attitude is being changed. We got more educated, but now the demand is there, but the supply is less. The shortage of mental health professionals are there. So this gap of psychiatrist or mental health professional is a concern for a country like India, where the mental health cases is booming, rising, and even reported in the economic survey. So we need some policy interventions on a very quick note. Okay, so why this demand increasing awareness. Okay, so that demand is there, now the supply is less, the professional should be there. And there is a very good data which says about the ratio of the health professionals or the psychiatrist and the population. As per WHO recommendation, there should be at least 3 psychiatrists for 1 lakh population. But in India, we are only having 0.75 psychiatrists per 1 lakh population in India, which is far below than the WHO standard. So this you can write it as an intro in your answers whenever this kind of question on mental health is being asked. Okay, and looking at the current workforce of India, we are only having 9,000 psychiatrists in the country as of 2023. As per this 1 lakh population formula of the WHO, we need 36,000 psychiatrists. In that 36,000 psychiatrists place, we are only having 9,000. Again, there is a deficit. Okay, so if we are improving in this phase, current rate of training 1,000 psychiatrists annually, that is the pace we are going now. If we are going in this phase, we will take at least 27 years to meet the WHO recommendation of having at least 3 psychiatrists per 1 lakh population. So this part is the most important part. You get a lot of data, observations with regard to the mental health infrastructure in the country and WHO standards. Okay, and also the major thing among the BRICS nations and globally, India is also having the lowest number of psychiatrists. So India, the demand is rising, the people are educated, the people got awareness, they start treating like the mental illness like a normal disease. They understood that, okay, psychiatry, there are branches of medicine, you consult and get the things done. But the problem is that the demand is there, but the supply of the doctors or the availability of the healthcare professionals, mental healthcare professionals are very low than the standards set by the WHO. Now talking about the states, Kerala is the number 1 state which are having psychiatrist, 1 psychiatrist per 1 lakh people, where in the states like UP, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, it is the lowest numbers. Per 1 lakh people, the psychiatrists are in lower numbers. So only Kerala is topping this ratio of 1 lakh people and more than 1 psychiatrist. Okay, now what can be done? Increased awareness can have to be done. So as per the study, there is a positive change among the people, the mentality of the people in a study conducted between 2018 and 2021 by Live Law Foundation. There is a significant increase in positive attitude towards this psychiatric treatment. Okay, and also a very good data in 2021, over 90% of the respondents were willing to seek treatment or support someone in accessing mental health care. That was 54% in 2008. Now 90% people are willing to seek help, or they are helping the people who are in need. So this part of the document is also very good, important thing. You can write it in your answers. Okay, so the recommendations can go like policy interventions must be there, updated data must be there. We should have updated data regarding the mental health conditions. All this can be done. So with this article, we try to understand the demand supply mismatch of the healthcare professionals in the country, and also the WHO standard set to have the ratio of the psychiatrist and also the population. So comparing to that, India's representation to that is very few, and Kerala is having 1 lakh, more than 1 psychiatrist for 1 lakh population, and other states including UP are having less representation. So this is the article about, and I already told you the economic survey mentioned about this part, mental health, for the first time. So for that reason, mental health, the initiatives launched like Telemanas or whatever the data reports, whatever you are getting with regard to the mental health, please take a note of it, and it will be useful for you in your examinations. Now the next article will be, what is the unified lending interface by the RBI? So anything that the RBI bringing as a new step or new initiative, that is very important for you. So here in the prelims perspective, you should understand what is this unified lending interface. Okay, unified lending interface, it's a technology, it is a platform to make the borrowing easier for farmers and small businesses. This is the major objective, making the borrowing easier for this farmer and business, both for the lender and the person who is borrowing. This should be a very easy process. Okay, and this is data management, the quick decisions can be made, the lender can understand the financial soundness or regarding his asset. So all these things will be integrated, and paperwork will be reduced. So this is something that RBI has launched. Okay, that is unified lending interface. So unified lending interface is a digital platform developed by the RBI, and the major objective, easier and quick access to credit for farmers and small business or MSME. So this is ULI. Okay, one thing. And now how it is impacting for borrowers, easy access to credit. They can get loans very faster. No need of lengthy credit history or extensive documentation. Paperwork is reduced, and there is better loan approval chances. If I have not cycled right now, the CIBIL score, these kind of things are there. But it depends on how I have performed with regard to my previous loans. But if I have not taken any loans, then how it will be calculated. So it will be very difficult for me to get the loan. But here, it's better loan approval chances are there even without previous loans or documented credit history. So it is the benefit for the borrowers. And for the lenders, he is having a comprehensive data to whom he is going to give the money. He can get the financial data, the government records, satellite images through this platform. So he can make sure that the person or the people who is going to whom is going to give money their data without asking them, it is readily available through this platform, and through which the quick decision making can also be made. Okay. So this is, for example, here it is given a dairy farmer, if he needs a loan, okay, the lender who is going to give him money can access data about his milk production, the sale he is having, the land ownership status, other economic activity directly from this platform. So what happened? There is no paper document. He is not even asking to him. If he is giving a request, everything is in this data. He can go through it, okay, and the disposal of the loan, the providing of the loan amount will be very quick and easier. So this is the idea of ULI. Okay, but there are some challenges also. The challenges that is addressed, that is especially with regard to the tenant farmers. These tenant farmers will not have any collateral, they don't have any document. So this tenant farmers will also be benefited of this ULI. Okay, now the way forward, it will largely impact to the financial inclusion aspect also, obviously. So this article is very important. ULI is very important. How it will impact borrower, how it will impact lender, because data is readily available without asking him, without paper documents. So it will be quick and speedy. So this is the and this will immensely help both farmers and also MSMEs. Okay. Now the next article is PM's visit to Brunei, Singapore to focus on trade and technology. So this article, it is the first time that a Prime Minister is doing bilateral visit to Brunei. For that reason this is important, but it is not the first visit by a Prime Minister. It was visited by Manmohan Singh and also Hamid Ansari way back, but the difference is that if it is a bilateral visit, it means that there is an objective behind the visit. They are talking about the defense, they are talking about the trade, they are talking about whatever the collaboration they could do. So this is called bilateral visit. So this is the first time a bilateral visit is paid by a Prime Minister. But our former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh also visited, but that was a very informal visit, or they visited, they had some kind of functions over there, they got welcomed, but no such important agreements were signed, or such kind of bilateral talks on defense trade was not happened. So here this is the first time a bilateral visit is paid by the Prime Minister to Brunei. Okay, and both these countries are from ASEAN countries. So this is again something important. And with regard to Brunei and Singapore, the areas we would like to have the talk is trade, technology and strategic relationship. And Prime Minister Modi will meet the PM of Brunei, Sultan Hassanul Maik, and we are also thinking about a space cooperation agreement with Brunei. We'll sign a memorandum of in this regard with regard to the space activity. And talking about the strategic importance of Brunei, it is located in the Indo-Pacific region, and the bordering countries of Brunei are also important from the prelims perspective, which is covered by Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines and Vietnam. And this is also a part of India's Act East policy, which means that the strengthening the relationship between the eastern neighbors of the country. Okay. And key meetings with the Singapore minister, we talked about how Brunei, the Space Corporation, the MOU. Now with the Singapore, the Prime Minister, we are going to have 4 agreements. One agreement on semiconductors, which is very important for the electronic devices, digital corporation, healthcare and also skill development. Okay, and talking about the Singapore with regard to the trading aspect, Singapore is India's 6th largest trading partner and the largest in the ASEAN. And also it is the biggest source of foreign direct investment in India. Now we have also had talks on improving the trade with Brunei and Singapore. Currently with Brunei, we are having a trade of $500 million from the past decade, but it got shifted for a reason that we started importing more oil from Russia than Brunei. So talking about the Singapore, the large source of FDI is from Singapore. So we are thinking to enhance the trade with both Brunei and Singapore also. Now energy and defense corporation with Brunei, we are considering intake of more liquid LNG from Brunei, and also defense corporation is also we are aiming at including setting up a joint working group are also on the agenda. Now there is a similarity between these 3 countries, India, Brunei, Philippines, the ones they were under the British occupation. So these historical ties are also bonding both India, Brunei and also India, Philippines. Okay. Now this is the article about, so we should know the importance of Brunei, importance of Singapore, India's look east policy, prioritizing the eastern neighbors, and what is the difference between this bilateral visit and also a normal visit. So all these things be covered, and you should take a note of it, because all the new visits, all the new countries explored by the Prime Minister for the bilateral talks, that should be considered by you also. Now coming to the next article, sender constitutes 23rd Law Commission. So Law Commission, what kind of a body it is? It's a constitutional body, it's a statutory body. Let's see. Okay, or if you know, you can comment now. Okay, anyway I will tell you. So 23rd Law Commission was constituted, and for 3 years period it is constituted. Okay, now the 22nd Law Commission ended on August 31st. So this 23rd Law Commission will have a full-time chairperson, 4 full-time members, and including a member secretary. There will be ex officio members, and Secretary of the Department of Legal Affairs will be one ex officio member, and Secretary of the Legislative Department will be the other ex officio member. Up to 5 members can be appointed this. And now the most important thing, Law Commission is not a constitutional body, not a statutory body, it's just an executive body provided by the government by an order. What is its major objective? To bring legal reforms in the country. So you should very understand the nature of this body is not statutory, not constitutional. And now the eligibility and appointment of chairperson and members. Serving judges of the Supreme Court or High Court can be appointed at the chairperson or members, and this will be calculated at actual service. It means that if a Supreme Court judge is now serving as the chair of this particular Law Commission, so this service will be calculated as the same. Okay, that is actual service. Okay, now the chairperson and these members will work on a all-time basis until their retirement or the end of the commission's term, whichever comes first. The salary is not that much important. Okay, but just if the chairperson will have a rupees 2.50 lakh salary, members will have a 2.25 lakh salary. Okay, so the pay structure applies if the chairperson and members are not serving judges. If they are serving judges, the same. Okay. So that's the idea. Now I told you the Law Commission is not a constitutional body, not a statutory body, it's just by an executive order of the government. The main idea is giving legal advices. Okay. Now the next article, very good article from the Agriculture Sector Cabinet. Okay, 7 schemes for farmers worth rupees 14,235 crore. So from this article you should know what are all those 7 schemes, and it is your duty to bring these 7 schemes with regard to agriculture in your answers, because whatever the priority of the government, that should be your priority. That should be your priority. Defense is the priority of the government, that should be your priority. Agriculture is the priority of the government, that should be your priority. So these 7 schemes, you should take a note of it, and wherever you can use it, you should write it. Okay. Now talking about the schemes, yeah, it has almost the budget outlay is around 14,235.30 crore, and the aim, the major objective was to modernize agriculture through technology, improvising nutritional security, enhancing livestock production, boost agriculture education also. This is also something very important. A key initiative is called as Digital Agriculture Mission, in which the technology will be used to integrate various agricultural database. Okay, now the first one is Digital Agriculture Mission. Digital Agriculture Mission, the objective is to bring better agriculture management and also data integration. Okay, now the next one is soil profile mapping. So this is actually a detailed map of soil profiles which will be available. The next one, crop science for food and nutritional security. Objective is making the farmers ready for the climate change and ensuring food security by 2047. Strengthening agricultural education and researchers. Agricultural students and researchers, they should be capable of modern challenges in agriculture. They should be studying these modern challenges. Sustainable livestock health and production, which focuses on dairy farming and livestock. And the next one, sustainable development of horticulture, which is very evident from the name with regard to horticulture, crops including tropical, subtropical and temperate varieties, as well as root, tuber, bulbous and arid crops, along with vegetable, floriculture and mushroom crops. And support for Krishi Vigyan Kendras. So agriculture extensional services. For that, for Krishi Vigyan Kendras, around 1200 crore support will be given to this Krishi Vigyan Kendras, and natural resource management, for that around 1115 crore is devoted, which is focusing on managing natural resources efficiently for sustainable agriculture. So all these schemes you should take care of, note of it. You may get a direct question from the schemes also, the objective of the scheme. That's why I said the scheme, I said the objective. Or whenever you are getting a question on the in the lines like, for example, what are the interventions, what are the what schemes that the government has brought in order to enhance the production, to bring quality, to enhance the health of the soil. So all these lines, if you are getting a question, you can put the schemes wherever it can be put, and you can write it also. Okay, so this is the articles that we have taken from today's newspaper. So I think everything I covered, the most important articles, everything I am covering on everyday basis. Sometimes it may go beyond 30 minutes, sometimes it may go up to 1 hour also, but please forgive me. I know you are very interested to go for very short duration videos, but my objective is to make the newspaper done and dusted here itself. You are listening to this video, I will be sharing you the Hindu PDF, so this should be your first and last source for depending for the current affairs for any examination, UPSC, SSC, RRB, and even the CUET also. So I hope you are enjoying these sessions, you are getting benefited out of NEWSPAP, and this material will be in the Telegram channel, and for the same the link will be provided in the description box. So one request, please do subscribe the channel, please share the content, like the video, and be happy. This is my last but not the least request. Be happy. If you are facing any kind of mental health issues, you are feeling you are not comfort with your mental state, please do consult a good concerned person for that, either a psychologist or psychiatrist. Telling this, prioritizing the importance of remaining happy, I am winding up for the day. Happy learning, enjoy learning, and this is me signing out from my classes. Thank you and a happy day ahead.